All right. Good evening, fiends. Geekopolis is proud to bring you, direct from his tour of Southern Asia and the Western Continent. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Justin Partridge.
Hello! We played a song with the crowd at the beginning because there's only 4 people here. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another action-packed edition of Allenmore's Porch. My name is Justin Partridge. With me, as always, Rocky Turner. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good.
How's everybody doing here? We should have brought the soundboard. Like the
oh yeah, because I thought about that and I was like,
we're validating you as humans. Wow.
That's a bulky piece of shit. Like that's a huge keyboard.
Fucking, yeah, but we just need to find like a soundboard, like a Baba Booey soundboard. We got a hell of a show. We got a hell of a show for you guys.
Howard Stern's penis.
It's tight, compact show, economic.
I like how we go through these little cycles where we build up an audience, and then we burn the show.
We constantly bite the hand.
We burn the show to the ground, and then rebuild it and be like, "Hey, come back! We swear we won't burn it to the ground this time."
A weird cyclical relationship to the people that have come to see the show because
we have like 9 or 10 people.
The people that do come to the show, we love very much, and we really appreciate it. But every time we get people other than people that we know on a first name basis, we immediately shun and ridicule them mid-show. And then we don't understand why they're not here the next show. I think it's great. We're constantly in a rags to riches kind of situation with this show.
We're our own Annies.
We're always going to be punk in that. It's like we're never going to allow ourselves to get a chance to sell out. Because
we're never going to be mainstream.
No one will give us a chance to sell out. No one will get close enough to us as an audience to.
It's like, hey, you want to give us money? No, we don't like money.
I'm not even worried that I got a new phone. I'm not even worried that this new phone isn't hooked up to the email address that we have for the show, allenmoresporch at gmail.com, but because I know for a fact we didn't get anything. No one sent us anything. No one cares. We're here by ourselves with our friends, and that's all that matters.
That's why I had
to do. All that matters.
That's why I had to do a lot of work.
I had my first genuine get off my lawn moment this last weekend.
Was it a literal get off my lawn or a figurative?
Like
you're using it as
the only thing that it was missing
or was some angsty kids actually on your lawn.
No one was actually on my lawn. That's a whole other kettle of fish with our neighbor. We're locked in this weird
turf war,
cold war with our neighbors. Like our neighbors are pieces of shit, and like their kids are always like shooting BB guns into our yard. But we've like talked to them about it. I don't know. It's weird. Where it's like I feel like it's like the.
Do you live in an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
It's the second act of The Burbs. Like, it's just,
Bruce Dern's gone nuts.
We're waiting for the conflict between us.
Tom Hanks is naked in the front lawn.
But we're still building up to it. But no. The only thing that was missing from this situation is me actually saying, get off my lawn, or, like, shaking my fist at youth, because my wife and I went to go see Godzilla. Which is tremendous. Oh, yeah. It's great. It's awesome. If you haven't seen it by now, you should. I'm not going to talk about that. Who gives a shit?
It's a great movie.
It's like you've heard it by now. We usually sit. It's in the theater. That's kind of their medium one. We usually sit up at the top of the stairs. Those 2 seats that has the support wall in front of it, so we can put our feet up because we're very, very lazy. So we sit down, previews go by, everybody's kind of filling in. We're 20, 30 minutes into the movie. There are 4 kids that are jumping up and down the stairs next to us. Stomping up and down the stairs, making a general ruckus throughout the movie. Okay, fine, I'm going to put a stop to this right now. I'm proactive, fucking willpower. Hal Jordan, motherfucker. So I get up, I go and I talk to an usher, I say, hey, we're on Godzilla, there's some kids that are causing a ruckus.
Problematic.
Yeah, dad word. I'm trying to use dad words at this point. Problematic, ruckus, Donnybrook, I don't know.
Hootenannies.
Yeah, hootenanny. That was a good. I should have kept that one in my fucking pocket.
Hoodlums. The hoodlums.
Anyway, I go back. Kids, I nearly run into one of the kids on my way back because they're now running up.
It's dark. You should have run into him.
Like, I'm thinking about about it now, I could have not shoulder checked him because he's a very small kid.
Just a bam,
He would have hit my hip bone or something. Like if I would have checked him with my hip bone or something, that might have done a little bit of.
At least knocked him down the stairs.
Yeah. So I sit down. Kids are still running amok. A lady gets up and goes talk to an usher. She comes back, admonishes them in the aisle, like you should listen to your parents. You should get up there and sit down and listen to your parents. So they fuck off. They sit down for like 10 minutes and then they get back up, start doing it all over again. But this time they're crawling on the handrails next to us. So I'm fucking really livid at this point. I'm very mad. I can't focus on the movie. Humanity is bursting all around me, and I can't handle it. I can't deal with it. I wanted to pretend these kids did not exist. They weren't in my field of vision as is, so they don't exist. So then my wife gets up, gets an usher. She comes back with a suit-clad man who starts to talk to the kids. He can't talk to the kids because they speak Korean. I didn't feel like that was pertinent to mention at the front, because I think it's a funnier punchline here, and also I'm not a racist. I didn't want that to inform the story, so I kept that in my pocket until just now. But then the kids direct him up to their guardian.
See, if they were Japanese, they would have been scared shitless in that
When they came in, I started to think, that's amazing. This kid, because they were with he looked like a 25, 27-year-old Korean kid. And I was like, that's amazing. He's taking his brothers to see a Godzilla movie. That's heartwarming. That's incredible. That's the media.
This piece of shit brought kids to a movie.
Yeah, and then, an hour later, I'm like, fuck you, fuck your kids, fuck everybody in here. Jesus Christ, let me watch a movie. They left. It was great. I'm getting old. I'm an old man now. I don't understand. I'm a very, very old man now, Matt. When it gets to the point that I'm just shitting in my bed, will you just kill me?
Yeah.
Please. Don't put me in a home. Just kill me.
Walk in and hey, guess what, buddy? It's like, what? We're going to go see the rabbits, Lenny. We're going to go see the rabbits. Look over there, Lenny.
That is by far a better death than anything. Oh, my God, that's great. I promised a big show, and I'm going to deliver it after my whinging and fucking moaning about the Godzilla movie. We're pleased to have him back on the show. He's always a hell of a guest. He's a guy that...
Was he going to be up here for the game?
He's going to play the game. Yeah, he's going to play the game. In order to finally bring this show to a proper head, would you like to please put your hands together for the one, the only, AJ Quevy! How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. Yourself?
Oh, doing just fine. We appreciate you being on the show. I want to give you a chance right up front to announce your new YouTube venture.
Yes.
I was gonna write down a bunch of stuff, but I didn't want to do it a disservice because I as you can see, I'm the world's smoothest interview. I'm like
you're Tom Snyder.
I'm Charlie Rose. Yeah, I'm very eloquent. I'm very to the point. So please, the floor is yours, sir. Tell the internet kids where they can find you.
Well, me and a group of my friends are starting a brand new channel called Those Nerdy Dudes. Because Those Nerdy Guys was already taken, which is unfortunate.
Those sons of bitches.
Yeah. So we went ahead and took that one, and basically it's just us. We had a previous channel where it was just comic reviews, tiny video game stuff, movie stuff, but this time we're diving in a lot more of the video games, movie reviews, because it's something just us pretty much hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do comedy sketches, we're going to do maybe video or comic reviews later, but that's just mostly it. It's just mostly whatever we want to do in this channel, we'll do.
Awesome, man.
Music, we got a friend that does breakdancing type stuff, all that is going to go in this little...
Oh, hell yeah, man. We wish you the best of luck, and I can guarantee you have at least 2 subscribers sitting in. Because the shit that you were doing with the first channel was great. Particularly, we talked about it on the show the last time you guys were on the show, your Punisher video game. You're playing the old Xbox Punisher, which is still... easily one of the more entertaining video games I've ever seen made.
The good news is we never beat it.
Did you? Oh, you shit! There's still gold to be mined. Oh my god!
I'm very.
That's already. If I could pre-order that, I would right now. We're gonna get to the episode in itself, which is about our favorite writers. We're gonna be talking about writing process, but I wanted to bring you up pretty early because we got a game that we'd like to play.
Alrighty.
This is yet another installment of our deadly trivia game challenge, 10 and 2. Now, what this is that Matt has prepared a list of 10 questions that we have 2 minutes to answer. I'm going to go ahead and get my stopwatch
You're
set
all
up here.
I've got tonight. I need you to.
self-promotion.
Oh yeah, Brian.
Speaking of
we
10
should
questions.
we should come on up, man. Get on the mic, man. We hear you from there.
Pub Trivia, June 10th.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Once again, this episode is brought to you by the lovely Geekopolis, run by Mr. Brian Lyons. A big round of applause for Big Brian. Working the dough. Yeah, he's having the first annual Geekopolis pub quiz. It's a monthly. What's the date?
June 10th.
June 10th at 9, I believe.
9 o'clock at the Iron Horse.
At the Iron Horse Pub.
Because Juneteenth was pretty packed.
Jokes about weird holidays. Okay,
That would be my
so
deal.
we've got. Well, this is the first time we've had somebody else play it. I'm going to assume this is some sort of. Are you?
If you'll get the time, I've got all of the.
You got the questions here. I've got a song picked out. I've got everything.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to make sure that I'm getting picked up there. I think I am.
Yeah, you've got just project a little bit more.
So.
All right, so here we go. The second round of 10 and 2,
Okay.
and we're going now.
What author used his degree in linguistics to form 11 tongues for his work?
Oh, J.R.R. Tolkien.
Yes.
And you got a scoreboard.
Oh,
You got
yeah,
to use a
yeah.
scoreboard. We got to tighten
All
this
right.
up.
What superhero script was penned by Mario Puzo?
Jesus Christ!
God, what
Like
the-
the Godfather, the dude from the Godfather wrote,
Yep.
wrote
He
a
did. I
comic?
didn't know that.
I got nothing. What do you got?
Spider-Man. I don't know. Just shoot.
Superman.
What?
That was my second guess.
Superman.
I was
That's-
going for the
we
mainstream stuff.
can't get bogged down.
Okay, who has had more books banned in the United States? Stephen King or Judy Blume?
Judy Blume. I'm gonna say Judy.
I'm Stephen King then.
It's Judy Blume.
Oh snap!
She's had 7. He's had around 4.
Insane. 50 seconds.
Who's? Oh, that's just it. There's no really. Yeah. Who's a more prolific writer, Isaac Asimov or Nora Roberts?
Let's go Asimov.
Nora Roberts, probably just in. AJ with the points.
106.
Jesus Christ!
Who of the following was not an original writer for Saturday Night Live, or who was an original writer for Saturday Night Live in the first season? Chevy Chase, John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, or Bill Murray? There's only one of them that was an actual writer for the show.
Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah. Chase. I don't know.
Yeah, it was Chase.
Chase, holy
Really?
shit! I thought Aykroyd. I thought he was just.
To me, I think
The
he's
man who wrote Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is more known by penning what famous book series?
Jesus Christ! These are
James Bond.
what?
Serious?
Jesus! What?
Ian-
Ian Fleming wrote.
Ian Fleming wrote, "What do Paul Thomas Anderson, Charlie Chaplin, and Federico Fellini have in common?"
Oh, I don't know.
It's the topic of writing.
2 minutes are up. Oh, Jesus
Oh, well,
Christ!
we'll keep going. I want to finish. I worked on these things.
Okay. I don't know. What do you got?
All 3 of them had been nominated for Best Writer, and none of them have ever received an Oscar for
So
Best
it
Writer.
wasn't alliteration.
Gotcha. Yeah, I just peas. They had peas in there.
This horror author has been reported as saying he would like to do a story on his biggest fear, spiders.
Stephen King?
Bingo.
Nicely done. 2, 3. It's coming up.
2, 3. Which black? I said black. so-
Easy. Yeah, easy. Just
Which African American filmmaker is reported as still typing up his work on a typewriter?
Spike Lee?
Correct.
Oh, hot damn.
And the TV show Beauty and the Beast had numerous shows penned by what now famous author?
Oh, that's George R. R. Martin.
Bingo.
Oh,
I did not fucking know that.
oh
until
my
I
God.
looked it
Okay,
up.
no, we need to talk about something. Okay, when I say trivia questions, I don't mean something that's
Like
gonna
the
make
most in
you,
me.
yeah, something that's gonna make me surprised when I hear the answer.
Okay.
Like Mario Puzo writing a what the fuck is a
He wrote the first and then the second one.
movie?
He wrote the first...
Christopher Reeves?
Yeah, Superman, and he wrote Superman
You
2.
get the fuck out of here!
Did.
Oh my
Those are actually the best
God,
ones.
that's insane
Exactly.
to me!
Because I remember watching it, and I was looking for trivia about
Sit
him.
down, you're making me nervous. Jesus.
I was looking up trivia on him because I'd heard that he was working as, and he worked as a pulp novelist.
Right.
And at one point, it was reported that he worked under Stan Lee. And he was just delivering pages after pages after pages of narration. And Stan Lee was like, we gotta fucking fill this shit we gotta fill this thing with art. Take that shit somewhere else. And he's like, take all this shit and write a book. And then he wrote Godfather.
Oh my God!
As the
best possible rebuke anyone can possibly have. Well, go fuck yourself, Stan Lee. Corleone at the wedding. Like, oh Jesus, God, that wrinkles my brain. I had no idea about that.
Which one was the biggest one for you?
The Mario Puzo one and the Ian Fleming also threw me
Chitty
for a
Chitty
loop.
Bang Bang. Because I sat there when I watched Chitty Chitty Bang Bang here a while back.
Mhm.
And it's an amazing movie. But I was sitting there and it was like, dun, 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 I was like, and then it shows based on a novel by Ian Fleming. And I was like,
Vomiting on the standing near his hat near you.
yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, that's nuts. But no, like before we got our minds melted by prolific Italian and British writers, are you just doing the Child Catcher song or
No,
the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang?
I was talking to someone about the Child Catcher because he was the greatest.
Yeah, Matt has a deep childhood connection to Chitty Chitty Bang Bang because he used to want to be the child catcher.
Yeah, the Child
Which
Catcher.
speaks volumes about
dark,
one
dude.
of my best friends. He also, I've been wanting to ask you about this because I know how big of a fan you are of this character. Are you excited to see Maleficent?
Yeah, I'm super
You're
pumped.
very excited to see Maleficent? I want to make that a section of the show. Like, you go see Maleficent, we just talk about it for like 30, 45 minutes or so.
I was actually going to bring this up before we got into the show, the actual meat of the show. Here recently, between the last show and now, I've started to watch Firefly.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that too.
Because I felt that, having never seen it, I felt like I was neutral in a very, very tense nerd war.
You were Switzerland.
I was Switzerland. I had no part in the fight, and I was like, I should at least get on one side or the other.
AJ, didn't we talked about Firefly a little bit when the last time you were here? We spent the majority of the time bitching about the first Spider-Man movie and Batman. But I do remember us touching on
It was just
Firefly.
about the whole like overhyped, the fandom of it, pretty much.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
The thing that really kind of cemented it in there, and it made me want to watch it more, was an in-joke in the Cleveland show. And they're at Comic-Con.
Yeah, you bring to the Cleveland show.
Yeah, the Cleveland show is what
I
makes
watched
sense.
I've watched like 3 seasons
He
in a
keeps
row.
pitching me on the Cleveland show, and the shit that he, like the bits that he's
It's
sending me are
hilarious.
very funny.
It's wildly funnier than Family Guy.
I'm not gonna lie, I watched it too. Like whatever was on Netflix.
I've just
really
burned it
about
up.
starting it.
But they're at Comic-Con because he's trying to sell because Cleveland's trying to sell its comic.
Waiter man.
Waiter man.
There's a superhero that's a waiter.
Waiter man.
He has
wears
water waiters, yeah.
chest high waiters.
Oh my God! It's even better than I imagined.
And they're standing in line to get into an event or whatever, and there's like a shitload of nerds just standing there, and Cleveland Jr.'s in the middle of them, and this one kind of skinny white nerd's like, you know what, I think Firefly is kind of overrated. And then all the other ones like, oh, how could you say that? And Cleveland Jr. was like, no, I get it. He's like, I mean, because you can't have a whole show of Han Solos. He's like, if everybody's Han Solo, then nobody's Han Solo. And I sat there
Just the most tactile, like eloquent
on the nose
description.
because I watched it and I was like, why is everybody being a fucking cartoon? Why can't you just act? Because I watch Castle a lot.
Yeah.
at work. It
Yeah,
just
yeah.
comes on, and I'm like, this is literally 1,000 times better than Firefly.
I've never watched Castle.
Castle's a very
he's,
entertaining
He's like
show.
a wry mystery writer, kind of like
Yeah.
jet setter playboy that solves crimes.
Yeah, that tags along with a sassy female detective.
Uh,
It's amazing.
I feel like Castle's the new Law and Order because like every time I turn on TNT, like,
There it is.
the Castle,
It was on before I fucking left the
Castle's-
house.
Like 8 or 9 episodes of Castle are playing like in between basketball games or something.
Yeah.
But no, AJ, like, what do you? I know you're a big gamer, right? Like, you play a lot of video games.
Yeah.
You're trying to, or what are you playing right now? Is there anything?
Something that literally came out yesterday. I'm sorry. It was Watch Dogs.
How
It
is
looks,
that?
It looks really fun.
It's-
Like, yeah, our friend
Yeah.
of the show, Jeffrey, was tweeting to me about it.
Jordan?
yesterday.
Jordan.
Sorry, I do
Wow.
that
Everyone
concept.
does it.
No, him and his brother. Like, I went to high school with both
Oh,
of those
okay.
motherfuckers, and I've done it for
He's got a
years.
brother.
I'm so sorry.
I thought
buddy.
you just pulled a random J name out.
I'm
There.
just like, I just took a
That's
gamble. I just took a gamble. Your parents just took a gamble. I'm sorry, buddy, but no, he was tweeting.
I'm just imagining like his dad just slamming into his mom, and she's like, she's like, you're not gonna do it inside me. He's like, no, baby, no. I'm pulling up.
Thanks,
I'm pulling up. And then he's like, Jordan! And then he just rockets inside her, and then
Wow,
9 months
that
later.
took a turn really quickly. It's all said. I'm still sorry, but and that
And all that whole
But
mental
no,
image
Watch
that
Dogs.
everyone
Watch
got.
Dogs looks really fun. I've never. Isn't it a reboot of a franchise?
I'm actually not sure. I think it's an original one by Ubisoft. Same
Right.
people that did Far Cry, Assassin's Creed,
Mhm.
all the really good games.
Mhm.
It's good. It's fun. It reminds me a lot of Grand Theft Auto.
I got that vibe. Yeah.
But to be fair, like it drives me nuts when people are like, it's just Grand Theft Auto. All urban open world games are Grand Theft
Grand Theft
Auto.
Auto, yeah. When you've refined the mold, like
Yeah.
when you've made a game as prolific as Grand Theft Auto, that's kind of gonna be the deal until
Yeah.
they stop making these games.
I mean, aren't we all just playing a modified version of Pac-Man? Let's be real.
It's all just Pong, guys. It's all just Pong.
Back and forth, man. Back and forth. That's life.
But we brought you on the show this episode to talk specifically about writers and I don't know because I bring up video games because I mentioned it a little bit last podcast, but I'm kind of inching my way towards the end of the Mass Effect games, and the thing that struck me about those games is how fucking solidly they're all written. Like they're very, very good pieces of like science fiction. And I haven't really like looked into it to see actually who wrote it or who contributed stuff to the script and stuff. But that's always been something in comics or in movies and TV. I've kind of always followed writers more so than I've followed characters. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it's
like
cool.
when a certain writer is on a book, I usually get really excited because I know that book is probably going to be really well written.
Exactly.
Is there any names that pop to your mind in that regard for you when you're like making a pull list or pre-ordering stuff?
Yeah, I've had a handful. As I collect more and more, there's obviously more names that come up that I trust. Mark Miller is my favorite writer, which I want to talk to you about this anyway. You said you hated Nemesis.
I did.
Follow-up, why?
I really don't like. Brian and I were actually talking about this the other day because I started reading his new book, Starlight.
Yes.
And I really enjoy it. It's very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
But as I described to you, Mark Millar is one of those writers that I've learned to be very cautious about approaching one of his books because I read Kick-Ass when I was younger when it first came out. Really dug it. Really responded to it. Didn't really touch any more of his stuff for a bit. Other than like I think I read Wanted. I somewhat enjoyed that, and I read Ultimates, like all of his Ultimate stuff, which I still kind of enjoyed. And I didn't touch his stuff for a while. And I went off and I read a bunch of other stuff, and I came back when Nemesis was starting. And I started reading Nemesis because that hook is fucking like his hooks are juicy as shit. That's the thing that makes me really cautiously, that makes me cautious about Mark Millar is that his concepts and his like log lines are incredible. They're really fucking great. And that one wasn't it? What if Batman was a supervillain? Like wasn't
essentially, that's what sold me on it.
That was his elevator pitch. All right, so I get into it. I start reading it, and I'm like, oh well, this is. Fine. That's okay. And I think it was around. So spoilers for anybody that hasn't read Nemesis, but I'm saving you a bunch of money. Is it issue 3 where it reveals that Nemesis has rigged the protagonist's daughter's womb to explode, but she's impregnated with her own dad's child.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's where I was like, go fuck yourself. That guy, you're sitting, like it's such a gross, horrible thing.
My brother.
And it's it's exactly that scene from the Venture Brothers, and like that has more narrative heft to me as a scene because I love those characters. Like the weird like hang-wringing dramatic way that he not only presents that quagmire, but like the third issue ends with the protagonist who's clearly Gary Oldman. Like he's very much drawn exactly like Gary Oldman, like kind of a weird Asian version of Gary Oldman, and it's literally him like in a wide shot hanging his head, and the doctor like has his arm around him, like saying, "If we try to take the baby out, the bombs will go off, killing your son and your daughter." And I'm looking at this comic, going like, you think I'm a moron? You think I'm an idiot? Like that I'm not gonna cry foul again? It's just it seems like the weirdest like Lethal Weapon-y.
See Now, as you were building up to that, I honestly thought you were going to say he puts his hand on his shoulder. The doctor puts his hand on his shoulder. It's like, we did all we could, but the baby exploded.
That I may like. That I like. You hear like off panel, and like he's like, no. It's like we did all we could, but the baby exploded. No, I don't know. Like it just seems like it seems like he's the guy. He's very much the idea man, and that's great. I think that's awesome. Like if he was just sitting in a room with a bunch of writers, workshopping these around a room and maybe offshore, like assigning them to another writer, I think they may be a little bit better.
I remember when Nemesis first came out, we were living together.
We were living together at the time, yeah.
And you read it, and then I was like, man, it looks like a pretty cool book. And you're like, no, I don't fucking read it.
You don't need to.
And I was like, why? He was like, he's starting to write comic books as if he just wants them to become movies.
Movie pitches, yeah. It felt a lot like a movie pitch because it seemed like every time you turned around, Mark Millar is like, I'm going to do a comic with Frank Quietly, and it's going to be for Icon. It's going to be great. And then 20 minutes later, someone's like, Lionsgate has just optioned the new Mark Millar comic to be.
What's funny is MPH, brand new series.
That's precisely what happened. Like,
got a movie before the even issue one came out.
It's a week from being on shelves, and someone's like, "Hey, we're gonna make a movie for that."
That's what I'm scared about. I like him because, like in Nemesis, that shocked me. Like,
it is. It's a very shocking.
A bit of my innocence died reading that comic. I'm like, I didn't know people did that. Like, who would color someone to do that?
I will say that
set up somebody's womb to blow up.
I guess hindsight. It's been a couple.
Well, no, but I mean that's a valid question. I mean,
it's something that you can only do in comics, and on that level, I really appreciate it. I think that's amazing that you can do shit like that in comics, and it's okay because it's a comic. Mm-hmm. But at the same, the flip side of that coin is that it just seemed like I don't know, like there are certain ways that you can handle scenes like that actually give the comic itself meaning, or it doesn't just feel like I need a third act twist for this third issue, and then it's fucking the baby's gonna explode if she tries to take it out, and it's his. Going to the pub. I will say though that Mark Millar was a part of that weird cadre of writers when I first started really getting into comics. That and you touched on it earlier, AJ. It kind of took away your innocence. Like you can do shit like that in a comic. Like him, Grant Morrison, I got super heavily into. Garth Ennis, I got really into with his Hellblazer stuff and The Boys. I read the piss out of the Boys.
Rover Red Charlie. Have you read that one?
I haven't read it. I've got it. It looks awesome.
It's freaking good.
I keep seeing it on shelves. But is there any other writers that to kind of get back to that point when you're making a pull list and you see he's on a book? Do you what attracts you as a consumer? writer was.
Well, another one that I just really accepted, I'm a huge fan of, is J. Michael Straczynski.
Yes.
I've been really. He started like a whole like doing his kind of Miller World type thing. It's
Mhm.
like Joe's Comics.
Mhm.
He's got like a couple. He's got Protectors Inc. He's got Dream Police that just came out, which was fantastic.
Mhm.
Sidekick. He's got 10 grand.
Apocalypse
So what?
Apocalypse Owl.
I don't read that one, but I got to get my hands on that one.
I do. It seems like I'm seeing his name more and more pop up on books, and I think that's great because I haven't read any of his stuff since Thor. Since when he was doing Thor,
He did a good Spider-Man run too. Like,
oh yeah, shit, he did do
he
Spider-Man.
did do an amazing Spider-Man.
Did he do that weird mutation stuff?
Yes,
like
the other, like 12 issues. Yeah, he did that. I think he wrote all the Iron Spider bit like for the Civil War, like prelude for Spider-Man.
Right on.
He did a bunch of really good stuff, and I'm just accepting that I'm a fan of his. So like almost anything that comes out, I'm.
Were
trying
you
to get
not
my hands on.
before? Was
I was, but I didn't know it was him.
Gotcha.
So, but now I'm like, because like you said, like I've tried to follow writers now as opposed to just characters. Because I started collecting 3 years ago, but I dove really heavy into it.
Right.
And so like I'd follow Deadpool or Spider-Man, and starting with the mainstream. And now I'm learning writers and their names and being able to follow them. Like someone I didn't think I would do that with is Scott Snyder.
Oh,
I
yes.
didn't think I would do that with him, but Batman is a great series right now.
Yeah.
And The Wake, if you haven't gotten to read that,
I haven't yet. It looks because I jumped back on American Vampire because I was like you. And also when you start collecting and you actually amass a pretty good chunk of your own collection, you do start to see names recur every once. Yeah, like they're like you kind of subconsciously kind of build your taste through your own collecting. And Scott Snyder was a guy that when he first started writing American Vampire, I jumped on it just because I knew that it was co-written by Stephen King and like it sounded cool, and I started reading the piss out of that. And then he did that short Detective Comics run, and it was Dick Grayson as Batman. And that was the moment that I was like, oh, so this guy's just always going to put out great books, right? Like he's going to be a DC heavyweight in a couple of years, and now he's one of the more prolific writers of the New 52, and he's done several amazing Vertigo series. He's actually one of the only writers that has kept me very invested in the New 52 with his Batman, because his Batman, he seems like a dude born to write Batman. Like he really fucking gets.
Plus, have you checked out like Batman Eternal?
I haven't
that
yet.
Shocked me how good it was.
Is it really good?
Because
I've been hearing good things about it.
I've got a disdain for weekly books. I feel like it's cheaper. I'm like monthly because I'm like I get to appreciate it, savor it every single month. But Eternal, because it's a weekly book, I'm like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. It was recommended to me, and I think it's better than the actual Batman.
A lot of the guys that I work with have because it's up to, is it 5 or 8?
I think it's like 8
because it's weekly.
Yeah.
They've actually
ask the comic book owner.
They've actually really enjoyed like every other issue. It seems like is a winner. But that brings me to another point. You mentioned Batman Eternal and weekly books. Do you prefer knowing that there's like a room behind something? Or do you like there being one guy at the top producing scripts? Because I know that weekly comics, like Batman Eternal and I think Future's End at this point, are written by a room, like 4 or 5 different guys. Because I think like it's Lemire, it's like a bunch of people on Future's End. Yeah, I don't fucking care because it's bad. But it's really bad. It really bad. But I like that. I really like that approach to comics, and it's always because I'm a big sitcom nerd, so I like when there's scripts that are thrown around a room and kind of given a once over by a bunch of different writers to kind of make sure that the best possible script that it can be before heading out to printers. Do you like that? Do you even notice something like that?
Yeah, I mean, like when there's like 10 names on the cover, I can't see most of the cover. I'm like, I guess so.
Yeah, there's some things that you can't avoid noticing on a comic like that.
But yes and no. I think it pays off a lot better when it does work. But I feel like just with one dude taking the risk of this is my idea, it could fail. But this is my idea. I appreciate that so much more. That's why I love a series of Voice in the Dark, because that's God, that dude's name. I interviewed him. I can't remember his name.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I feel
He's
terrible
going to be
about
taking
it.
a dump on your front lawn.
Well, the thing is, he's the writer, he's the artist, he's the colorist, he's the ink, all
Jesus,
that
so
stuff.
that's
Yeah.
very much
And
his book.
and he's like a quadriplegic. He draws
Son
with
of a
he draws
bitch.
with his mouth.
That's insane.
Yeah.
What?
Which broke my heart, like, as a side thing. Like, I read the first issue, I'm like, that's really good. The arts is mediocre, but it's good. And then I read the dude draws with his mouth. I'm like, that's amazing.
So now you're above. It's
I
above
could never
reproach.
do
You
that.
can't,
Yeah.
you can't shit on it at all.
That's what-
because it's a feat. You're holding like someone's actual sweat and blood in your hands.
Feet for someone with no feet.
Oh my god, that's amazing. But no, I agree with that to the larger extent, just because I think that's why the current crop of like Image creator-owned books are so strong, because they're very, very much personal visions by these dudes and their artists. Like they're writers like Brubaker and Matt Fraction and Rick Remender that are doing these incredible stories that have. I'm really so speaking of Scott Snyder, he's got an Image book coming up that I'm very, very excited about called Witches. It's him and Jock. It's a horror book.
I like Jock, so
I fucking love Jock, but it's a straight up horror book, and he's talked a bunch about how it's the scariest, like most fucked up thing that he's ever written, and I'm excited.
down for that.
I'm very, very excited about it. Like they announced like the new crop of kind of Image creator-owned books at. Doesn't Image have their own convention, like ImageCon? Or
I
like
would,
they have,
I would
like, a
go to
trade-
that in a heartbeat.
They have
I
like a
think.
trade show or something. Like they have a big thing that's just a bunch of Image books where Eric Stevenson kind of comes out. They talk. They get the writers out. They announce their new books, and they go forward from there. They show them apart. But Witches was one of them, and I'm very, very excited about it. Yeah, and there's a. Are you a big Hickman fan? Are you a big Jonathan Hickman fan?
I am, but I'm not. Mostly am, because he's one of the people I trust.
What's the not?
I don't know when I'm reading. When I read this
no,
stuff.
that is a valid fucking point. And coming as a huge Hickmanite, like I really fucking love his work. There are some points where I read a book, I close it, I put it down, and go, I don't know what the fuck I just read.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, and it was really fun, but I can guarantee
I've
I
been
don't
that way
get
the
75% of what's going
The
on.
entire Avengers run so far. I'm like, I read it and I'm like, that felt good. And then someone's like, what was it about? I'm like,
Couldn't fucking tell you. They were on Mars for a
also,
bit.
like, east of west and all that stuff. I'm like, it's
graphs.
good. I just don't.
No, and
I can't relay really what's happening.
I get that completely, but I bring him up specifically because I'm so fascinated with the way that he writes certain things. He's famous for, at the end of his Fantastic Four run, he tweeted a picture of this infamous graph that he had of his Fantastic Four run. What he does is that he sits in his apartment and he breaks the story as a graph. So it's like this huge piece of cardstock that has each issue broken down. It's like an Excel spreadsheet, basically, that he's broken down his entire Fantastic Four run from the very beginning until the very end of it, very last issue. He has
That's
everything
impressive.
planned from day one. And it's fascinating to me how certain writers can do something like that. As somebody who's starting to struggle, and I don't want this to sound like I'm blowing smoke up my own ass, because I'm desperately not wanting to bring this up through the whole episode. But as someone who's starting to script, it's completely insane to me that someone sits in an apartment with the stories in their head and then pours them out onto a giant fucking insane graph.
You're solely looking at the finished work of Mozart and just being like, there's no corrections.
Yeah,
There's no corrections.
Yeah, like it's insane to me. And like, in speaking to his Avengers run, which I have really enjoyed, but I've been the weird guy in the tiny boat, going like, you don't have to drop it. Like, I swear it makes sense, but also sounding like an insane doom prophet because it doesn't make any fucking sense. But I would kill to see the Avengers graph, because I know somewhere there's a graph of the Avengers and New Avengers somewhere, and I would kill to see it.
That's funny, because like I had a couple of friends that didn't collect Avengers initially, and so as they heard it was pretty good, I'm like, yeah, it is really good. They're like, all right, when can I jump on? I'm like, you really can't.
A year ago?
Yeah,
I don't
like,
know.
you better find the trade backs, because there is no arc really.
I have said that if you're gonna try to get into Avengers and New Avengers, trade is definitely the fucking way to go. Just in terms of of it being cheaper, and you probably get a lot more out of it. Do you prefer writers to do stories like that, like kind of season arc, like you can jump onto a trade paperback and jump into it, or do you just like how you can pick up an issue and easily plug into it?
It depends to me on how well it's really written. Like if it's, which unfortunately, like the Deadpool series right now, I dread it.
Really?
Deadpool's my favorite character in comics, mostly because I was a little kid and it's just something I can't let go of.
Yeah.
I hate what society's done with him, but I'll pass that.
That's a whole other show.
Spider-Man 2099 is my 90s kid thing that I can't fucking let go.
He's getting his own series.
I
soon,
know,
so
and I'm
that's-
very excited about it. It's probably not going to be any good, but I'm very excited about it.
But I mean, if it's good, I want it to be one coherent story. But if it's bad, I'm like, at least it's an arc. Like I have a rule like with that. If a book sucks to me, I'll wait 2 arcs and then I'll drop it if it still doesn't pick up. Because writers have bad arcs.
Jesus, you're way more patient than I am. I will drop it after like 3 issues.
Yeah.
And like if it, I've become very Spartan in my pull list. Like anything that doesn't hold my interest for like 2-3 issues, gone. I'm not reading
Maybe
anymore.
I should have done that because my.
But 2 arcs, that's a good way to go about it because, like you said, there are some arcs that drag in the middle, or some like start out really strong and then end up fizzling out. Like it's seeing it to an arc by arc basis. I think is a better way to get the scope of the story and the writer's ability to write that character. You look like you're about to say something wrong.
I just because it's one of those things where I'm kind of a man in 2 boats because I like overall story arcs. I just don't like them when they drag on forever.
Mm-hmm.
But I also do love like one shots or like real quick
Yeah.
3 issue arc or whatever.
Mhm.
Just like a real quick. Hey, by the way, this is it. Because I think the only comic, and this is horrible. I'm sitting in a comic book shop. The only comic that I actually like kept up with every week whenever it came out, I was buying it was the American Vampire because I was like
Yeah.
I was like you I was like it was co-written by Stephen King. It was about a vampire in the West, and he said if he could have used Bill Paxton from Near Dark.
Yeah, from Near Dark, he would have been.
It would have been Bill Paxton from Near Dark, and I was like, that sounds awesome. And so I started reading it, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. And I ran out of money; I couldn't buy them anymore. And I sat there, and by the time I got back into it, they were in like World War II, and I was like, "The what happened?"
Like it starts in the
I was
20s
like-
and the 1800s.
I was like, I know I missed a bit, but god damn. I was like, did we jump that far ahead? And I mean, I apply the same thing to stories that are like TV shows.
Mhm.
That's why it's easy for me to digest all of the Cleveland show in 3 days, whereas it's taking me 4 weeks to finish Firefly because it's just like I'm like, fuck, we get it. I know.
It just becomes a
they're
chore.
space cowboys. Move on.
Thank you for the unintentional segue, but do you guys have appointment TV or appointment comics that every month or every week you're planting on the couch or you're heading up to your shop to buy?
I guess like anything Mark Millar. Like I just
Really?
mostly because like I don't know. There's something about his writing. Like he captures these characters. So take like with NPH, a cliche superpower like speed, and then make it something that's different and incredible. So like anything with his, that's the first book I read every time it comes out.
Yeah.
And I probably get some flack for this, but I love the Walking Dead show.
Yeah.
Me and my friends. Well, the thing is like. That's the reaction. Like
Yeah,
there's 2 reactions. It's a good show where like they just get shunned by my own people. These comic fans
people are
that
really
are
shitty
ripping
about it.
me apart.
Matt's really shitty about it.
Yeah, I'm really shitty about it.
Matt's been
My
really
problem
shitty
and
about
like
it.
my thing is, it's not a don't think of it as a zombie show. Don't think of it as that. It's a human show.
I didn't think of it as a zombie fucking book when I read the goddamn book.
Yes.
I knew it was
Yes.
a hardcore emotional drama that just happened to have zombies in it. It was the darkest, bleakest. My problem is, and I've said it 1,000 goddamn times. My problem is, I don't mind that you change the plot because I understand if people that read the comics are going to watch the show, you want to give them. You don't want them to be like, oh hey, next episode, Rick's gonna lose his arm.
Yeah,
you don't want that, but you want to be able to spice it up. My problem is that they changed character personalities.
Very
Yeah,
true.
his whole thing is about the adaptation. He really hates the adaptation.
I just they take characters that act a certain way and then flip it to the polar opposite and then like, oh, this is how they are. This is just how they are. And I was talking to somebody and I was like, oh, I was like, well, what do you think about so and so? And they're like, oh, she's a total bitch. I was like, she was fucking amazing in the book.
Yeah, I love, and it's hilarious that as soon as he didn't even say a name, he didn't say a letter, and the first name that you thought is the fucking flag that he plants in living rooms around the country.
Yeah,
but it's also it's weird to accept The Walking Dead as an adaptation when there's superior adaptations of things that are on TV right now, like Game of Thrones and Hannibal. Jesus Christ, Hannibal! I'm talking about appointment TV. Hannibal is every fucking Friday in a goddamn seat watching the show. It's incredible. It's so good.
Be prepared to get on fucking board with the new FX series coming out.
The Strain?
Yep.
Strain, yeah, I'm very, very excited about it.
Oh,
This has been a book series that Matt has been touting for probably since we lived together. He read the first couple. He read them all pretty quickly and was.
I was say I read the first one when it first came out,
in my face.
And I was like, "This is fucking great." And then I read the second one, and I was like, "Awesome!" And then I had a kid, so it was a while until I'm just now getting through the third book. God damn, that book gets bleak.
I'm very excited about the
bleak.
show. Like the David Bradley, the guy from House of Cards. Like I'm very, very excited about it. But I'm trying to think of any like Hannibal appointment TV, Mad Men appointment TV. I can't. Anytime new season of Mad Men's on, I'm fucking there.
There were shows that I did watch pretty regularly, and
Iron King? Fuck. I've been watching a shit ton of Iron King.
Hello?
Oh my god. Have you heard of this show, Iron
Welcome
King?
To the 80s?
There's this show that I'm starting to watch. It's a Japanese tokusatsu show called Iron King. And it's basically these two guys that fuck around in Japan fighting these groups of villains that have robots. And like one of
Chuck Norris.
One of the guys, his name's Jintaro, and he dresses in like a weird
Walker Texas
cowboy
Ranger
hat that he can throw like Odd Job and like the fringe like Davy Crockett jacket. I'm just
thinking of that freeze frame where he's
and his buddy's named Goro, and he wears like a weird like sport vest with like a wide collared red shirt, and he has a hat that can transform him into a big robot that's powered by water. And like the other guy ends up fighting most of the robots because he's got this super iron belt that has like a pin on it that can turn into a grappling hook or a sword. It's the most batshit fucking show. Like the more I've gotten into it, because I'm on the second disc. I'm probably 12, 13 episodes into it. They've murdered several side characters. The Jintaro is a vehement misogynist, hates women, is constantly putting them down and shaming them for joining them on their adventures, and then they end up getting murdered by said villains. The villains from the first group of episodes have now been wiped out and are fucking replaced by this other group of villains that dress like the Iron Sheik and like have robots that look like kaiju, and like it's just fucking the show. I had to take a break from the show. I've been watching the show for like 2-3 weeks. Just night after night watching multiple episodes, and it got to the point last night where I was like, I can't fucking watch another episode. I've got to take a break and start watching something else. We're gonna wrap this up, but I've got one last question, and I want to try to keep it concise. Dream franchise. An editor comes to you with a contract, says sign this contract. You can write anything you want for any company. What do you write? Mine very quickly, because I've got multiple fucking answers for multiple companies. DC, Justice Society. I'd write the Justice Society of America, and I would put Batwoman and the Question on the team with the original lineup. It'd be the Alan Scott Green Lantern. Also for DC, I would write Challenges of the Unknown. Remember the Challenges of the Unknown? They're in like a couple of random episodes of Justice League. They're like the shitty, like they tool around in a UFO and they fight like aliens, and like they're great. They wear like purple jumpsuits. They're awesome. For Marvel, Namor.
He deserves his
Namor. All fucking day, Namor. I love and Machine Man. I'd write the piss out of Machine
Really?
Man.
Well, it would be hard to do.
God, Machine Man. I have like 1,000 fucking stories that I want to tell with Machine Man. Like, I've broken down. I've got this nutty moleskin at my house that just has a shit ton of ideas in it.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, 25% of them are Machine Man and Namor ideas of just shit that I'd want to do with them. What about you guys?
I guess same idea. Yeah, like if Marvel, I'm going to take over Deadpool first off.
Yeah.
Just to write him right.
Mm-hmm.
Because
because they're doing like a comedic.
they got Brian Posehn.
Yeah,
who-
Brian Posehn and Gary Dugan.
I'm not even a fan of his stand-up.
Really? Oh, Jesus.
It's funny. Like I saw like the whatever comedians of comedy
Mhm.
bits, and he has funny bits.
Right.
But I don't trust him enough to be like, oh, his stand-up's out. Like,
Gotcha.
I'm not
like
a huge
to go
fan
out
of
to buy
him.
an album.
And Gary Dugan, who actually me and him got in a huge Twitter fight.
Did you really?
We got in a huge Twitter fight.
About what?
He's a man-child. He says it was a backhanded compliment. I was honest.
Uh-huh.
I said he had an arc in Deadpool called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And I told him, like, wow, read issue 15. I loved it.
That was the bit with him. It's Deadpool, Wolverine, and
Captain America.
Going on a mission.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm like, I loved it. It was. It's been way better than everything so far.
Mhm.
And he said, like, his response was, do not tweet us again. I don't care what you think.
Jesus.
And I'm like, whoa! So then, like, our fans of the show at the time, Two Comic Nerds, started bombarding him with, like, why you gotta be a dick? Kind of thing.
Yowza. Oh my god.
So he was like, he was a backhanded compliment. He said he didn't like the rest of the stuff. And I'm like, I said it wasn't as good. I didn't like the rest of the stuff.
Right.
But I didn't word that because I'm a decent human being.
Listen, I'm being polite here.
Yeah.
But no, that's.
You've been wiping your ball sweat on comic book
Yeah,
pages
you
for the
could've-
past 6 weeks. You finally came out with something that
You
was
could have
better
been
than
a
the
lot
pig stain.
meaner about that. Like, you
I
could have been
could've
a lot
been.
more aggro about it.
But I was telling him, like, I loved it. Like, I said things like, it was awesome and I loved it. And
Mhm.
that's all he heard was, I didn't like the rest of this stuff. And so, like...
Well, I've gotten compliments like that where a professor was like, "Oh, do you like working with watercolor?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do. I like the fluidity of it." I was like, "It's really fun." She was like, "Oh," she was like, "Yeah." She was like, "'Cause you're really good." She was like, "You're better than you are with acrylics." I was like,
Go fuck yourself. Like, you
And
were
then
just tipping over.
She left, and then I was like, "Was that a compliment or an insult?"
You clear this up for me.
I was like, and then person sitting next to her, they're like, "Both."
But, Deadpool from Marvel.
Yeah,
really?
I'd also want to... oh, God, there was someone else I thought would be cool from... or Marvel, whatever. With DC, I'd want to take over a character Vibe, who...
Oh, yeah.
Because I loved... He's a crappy superhero. His powers suck. He can make stuff vibrate.
That's it. That's his.
See,
I was thinking he was more like an avalanche. Like he
He could
shoots
hypothetically, but it'd have to be like almost an avalanche anyway.
like an avalanche just starting,
Yeah.
and he just goes like,
He-
ah, yay!
That's right. God, what's that guy's name? He wrote Jeff Johns.
Mhm.
He wrote the first arc of Vibe, and I loved it because
Mhm.
he used. That's one thing I love about Jeff Johns. He makes crappy heroes cool,
Mhm.
like Aquaman and stuff. Like Aquaman's sick in the New 52.
Yeah.
First.
I've heard really good things
Because
about Aquaman.
he acknowledges, like, he's like, how does, like, I could in the first issue of Aquaman, because Lee sold me on it, because I'm like, dude, Aquaman sucks. I know Aquaman.
Yeah.
And he was like, read the first issue. And I did, and I kid you not, there's a line in it where Aquaman's in a restaurant eating. This dude walks up with him with a pen and paper. He's like, hey, could I get your autograph? He's like, I gotta ask you, what's it like to be no one's favorite superhero?
Oh my god!
And I'm like, I'm reading the crap out of this.
It's so great. Didn't somebody also told me in that same scene, like a looky-loo busts Arthur's nuts for eating fish and
Yeah,
chips.
he's at a seafood restaurant.
Oh god, that sounds awesome.
And so he did the same thing with Vibe. This dude can vibrate, and he's like, yeah, but cameras can't see him because he's constantly vibrating.
Mhm.
He's the only one that can stop the Flash because Flash is moving at a frequency, and he's able to vibrate at that frequency. He made really cool stuff out of this really crappy character who's from Detroit, and he's like a really poor guy. Like I love those kind of characters. I think I could do like really cool
Right.
with those kind of characters.
Man on street kind
Exactly,
Like,
just
gets any
simple.
girl he wants.
of. Daredevil. Daredevil's another character like that I would really love to write the piss out.
Speaking of which, you see they release who's going to play him in the Netflix.
Yeah, Charlie Cox. That dude's an amazing actor. He's in Stardust. He was really great in Stardust. I haven't watched Boardwalk Empire, but apparently he's on a bunch of episodes of Boardwalk Empire.
I've heard
I
that.
found that interesting because that's the first cast I've heard in years that people aren't freaking burning down the streets for.
Yeah, people are
that.
kind of like
People are like, okay.
yeah, like it hasn't really
Can't be
been
any worse than Ben Affleck.
it hasn't been really met with a resounding like we approve just yet. But it also hasn't, like you said, it hasn't been like people punching people in the streets about how wrong it is. Matt, what do you got for like somebody comes up, dream contract?
Well, and that's just it. Like I was sitting here and because when you first said that, and then you started, well, like with DC approach to Marvel approach, I just make up my own fucking comics. And that's just it. My comics, all the shit that I think of is completely attuned to my mind and like my kind of like what I think is funny.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna take you there. DC, Apache Chief.
I will add you to my pull list in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I pre-order that fucking
And that's
now.
just it.
Solo title?
No, yeah, solo. It's just Apache Chief. And like 80 to 90% of the book, of the series, of the whatever is just him walking around.
Like talking to people.
Like 3/4 of the way into like the
Flesh.
first book, like him, like it's like, well, she says she needs gluten free. Excuse me, is this gluten free? It's like, sir, it says on the back. Thank you, I didn't see it. And like that's the whole book until you get to like one part when they're like, Apache Chief, we need you. There's a kid trapped in a burning tree, and he runs over. Ian Upchuck grows tall, plucks the kid up. Ian Upchuck shrinks back down and then just fucks off.
Heads home, watches The Mentalist. Like,
puts on his slippers and goes to bed.
this sounds like the greatest comic ever written.
I was trying to sit there because like Marvel, I don't really like. I'm not that familiar with Marvel, just from what I've seen in all of the
movies.
The movies
Yeah,
that
the
I've seen.
MCU.
But I would have to say, I'd love to do an entire bucket solo series on Armin Zola.
Oh shit!
Just a whole.
That would be awesome.
Just
like
a
a Magneto villain
I love
series
villain
about Armin
books, so
Zola.
yeah,
But like when you first said that, because I've actually been trying to think of this way to write this book, because I want to start writing and animating this series that I have in my head called Hamburger Town. And it's about a guy. It's going to be about a guy, like a vegan hipster, that gets pulled into a cross-dimensional plane rip. Whatever. We don't have to explain it.
Yeah, wormhole.
He gets pulled into a land that's entirely populated by junk food.
Like sentient junk.
Sentient walking around like the mayor's a cheeseburger. Like a taco's his landlord.
Hang on, no, because I have 17 questions. Are they just like a taco with arms and legs?
Yes.
Or see, I was envisioning like a person
with a taco face.
head. Yeah, like he's wearing a suit. Yeah, like Mayor McCheese, like he's wearing a suit.
Mayor McCheese.
Very, very elegant cape. and a cheeseburger. That's funnier though. Just like a
walking,
cheeseburger
and
with
he
arms
has
and
to
legs.
constantly. Because he's constantly battling within himself whether he wants to break his diet. Because there's
cannibal.
because even the broccoli is sentient. Like the broccoli owns the Korean deli down the street.
What do they eat? Like, what did the food eat?
The food eats smaller versions of food. I haven't gotten that far yet.
Listen, semantics.
Maybe they eat dirts and crystals. I don't know.
Because that was the first thing I thought. I was like, are they just eating little sentient like mini tacos?
Well, and that's when
I assume they ate little people.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, or that too.
Crack open a bag full of white people.
It really was.
When you brought up like weekly shows that you just got to watch, I'm never fucking home in the evening, so I don't get to watch any shows. And we got rid of our cable box, so I can't watch it on demand. I used to watch Archer every week.
I love Archer, yeah.
And for the longest time, and I still would love to fucking run with anything that they would give me, Adventure Time.
Mm-hmm.
Because Adventure Time has literally pushed like all the fucking jars of pennies off the table and just like, fuck it, we're not. Because recently, did either of you watch it?
I sporadically.
there's the whole thing is that Finn's the only human. Well, at one point, the main kind of like Billy, his hero, his idol, who's dead, his spirit comes back and he wants him to fulfill his wish list. Mm-hmm. And at the bottom of the bucket list is tell Finn that thing you said you were never going to tell him. And at the very bottom of the list, at the very end of the one of the episodes, he's like, "What was that thing you were going to tell me?" He's like, "Oh, your dad's still alive." And then you just see him disappear. Or something. I haven't seen that episode. I haven't seen that episode. I've seen the next 2 episodes where they go and find his dad, and his dad's a piece of shit. But like he gets his arm torn off, and like that connects with like so many other parallel universe versions of him.
Robot armed Finn.
Like there's like and they're just stacking the hell out of these episodes, and they're like I remember the first one I watched that was kind of like what the fuck are you? Because they showed that the Ice King used to be human.
Mm-hmm. Used to be a dude.
Used to be a normal guy, and then he put on the crown and became crazy, and he witnessed the death of the world. Mm-hmm. And they revealed in a pretty recent episode that like he lost his magical powers for some reason. Mm-hmm. And you see him like scrawling around. He's like, "Oh God, I've entered another dimensional plane where I'm so bonkers that I think I'm sane again." He's like, or maybe I'm just sane again. And then you realize that for the 1,000 years that he's been the Ice King, he's been he's been trapped inside of his own mind.
Jesus!
That's a fucking kid's show!
Is that on Cartoon Network?
Yeah,
this is a kid's show.
Prime kid, the Cartoon Network show.
And I remember watching that, and after the episode, I asked Chris, I was like, is this something like... I was like, did they basically just say that he's been basically trapped inside of his own consciousness for 1,000 years just watching shit happen? She was like, yeah. I was like, fucking god.
But like, give that show a shot then.
Any of their stories, because all of their stories are incredibly fucked up and dense. Mm. But like I said, I just have random stupid ideas for comics,
right? That
would just be unreadable to anybody.
You definitely an image guy then.
yeah. You'd be a big image guy.
I pitched a comic to them once.
In their contest thing that they do.
They had a little thing that was like, or it was either them or Dark Horse, and they were like, just submit anything, because everywhere else you submit, one, they don't take any submissions. Mm-hmm. Marvel and DC don't accept any writer submissions at all. There's a lot of other like second tier that they'll accept them, but if you send them a story, they own it. And if you try to publish it through someone else and they don't want to use it...
It was always my like weird perverse dream that I would get something in heavy metal. Like if you write something for heavy metal and then get it rendered, like if you get artwork for it and you send it in, they'll publish it and they'll give you money for it. That was always like my kid dream reading heavy metal books. And I would get like a Cthulhu story in heavy metal or something. AJ, thank you fucking very much for being on the show, buddy. You're always a great guest. Tell the people where they can find you on the internet once again.
Well, I guess I can officially open it up. You can find us at Those Nerdy Dudes on Twitter, Those Nerdy Dudes on Facebook. I got the channel already up. Nothing's on it yet, but they can definitely find us there.
Fantastic. And you can follow us on Twitter at Alan Moore's Porch, all one word. You can also send us emails at alanmooresporch@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Alan Moore's Porch. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can listen to this and all of our past episodes on youtube.com. Search Alan Moore's Porch. You can see just how many New Japan Pro Wrestling videos I've been watching recently and liking.
Yeah, you've liked quite a few.
I've liked a lot. Just going through that timeline is just a real descent down a rabbit hole that I'm very, very glad about. For Matt, myself, our fantastic audience, thank you guys very much, and we will see you next time. Song outro. This wasn't up loud enough. Oh my god, is this still recording? Are you actually still recording?
Oh, no, yeah, I'm recording.
Don't cut that off.
Oh, I'm not cutting
it off.
I'm not cutting it off! Cut it off! You have a gun, for God's sake!